Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor. Now it's time for your weekend tech tip, brought to you by Chevy Silverado.
Perfect timing for this question. It was asked on our Facebook page a few days ago, what would be the perfect setup for off-color trolling? Now, you're going to get a lot of different answers from a lot of different people, and everything that I do here on Outdoor GPS is just my own opinion. Not that it's the only way or the best way. I've said this literally for 17 years. It's amazing how some people don't hear that. But I am a huge fan of chartreuse or green or something dark, and we'll get to that here in a second, something dark, contrast, and off-color conditions, okay? Muddy water. And there's no shortage of that, either beyond the Willamette or the Columbia. Now, they're gradually going to get better. It seems like the Columbia might be a little bit behind the Willamette as of this morning. But that being said, flashers, certainly something that you have to consider, and how you're going to get those flashers to be attractive. Because if you don't get those fish attention without just hitting them square in the nose, you need enough eyeball down there. No, obviously they need to be able to see it. Is flashers, either a double setup or the large fish flash, which you can see the difference in the two. I fish a large fish flash if the water is gin clear, or I'll just go away from it altogether and just run a naked herring. But again, question is off color. So first, let's talk about the double fish flash, okay? This is one of my favorite setups, even in not off-color conditions where you can change the colors that you use here. But this is nothing but contrast, and a lot of it. You can see that this particular flasher, I believe is called the Grinch, is one of my favorites to run in a double rig. Whenever I run a double rig in off-color conditions, I want a flasher that's got a lot of contrast. This particular one is on a black plastic with some gold and then the green on the other side. I mean, just a ton. Believe it or not, even in muddy conditions, this setup gives a lot of flash. I mean, it's just one of those things, when it gets in the water, you're going to look at it and go, okay, I get it. Now, one of the questions is always, well, how do you make that connection? It's pretty simple, at least for myself. There's a lot of people that might do it differently, but this is how I like to do it. I actually take and cut the O-rings that are on a fish flash off, because I like to be able to attach in different ways. It's a different topic for a different day. But on these flashers, they come with the best swivel on the market. Both sides of this stainless steel swivel rotate. That means that you got a ton of spin. I mean, there's just no friction there, which helps out tremendously. So putting a couple of dual locks on either side makes it perfect for your connection to run your double flasher. Then in front of that, I've got an 18-inch titanium bumper. Now that bumper, that's from Hawken Fishing. Been using these since they started making them. I love them for 360s or fish flash, whatever it is. A titanium bumper, if you can see that there. You can't bend it. You can't tie it into a knot. It's just at least for me, again, my preferred way to go. But it's an 18-inch bumper to the flashers, and then, of course, you got to have your hooks on there, right? The next little tip I would give you, along with having big flashers, lots of bling, lots of eyeball, and let's just kind of go to this too, keeping it on the bottom, which is where the fish are going to be 98% of the time, is also extremely important, all right? But leader length, typically for a leader length behind a fish flash, we're talking, anywhere up to 48 inches, sometimes even longer, out to 6 feet behind a fish flash, depending on clarity. So the theory is there, you would shorten that leader up. Behind this is a 36-inch leader, 30-pound, with just a fixed mooching rig for a cut plug green label herring, which is what I typically fish. But you're shortening that leader up. So 36 inches, 30 to 36 inches, might seem short, but the concept there is that when that fish does see that flasher go by, that right away, the bait is right there. It gives them something to target. Because if there's a really long leader there, just gives them more of an opportunity to miss that bait as it goes by. So short leader, big bling, double flasher, large fish flash. You can even do 2 large fish flashes, which we've done many times. Sometimes, though, you do have to add a little extra weight depending on where you are to keep it down there at a decent angle. But in the end, as far as answering that question, lots of eyeball, shorter leader behind it, and keep it on the bottom. And speed, slow as you can get away with. We've talked about that a lot. As slow as you can get away with. Give those fish as much time as possible for them to key in on your herring. Hopefully that answers that question. Now, the other part of that question was using the Edge 360 Pro rod as a herring rod. Should or you should not do it. We'll be back with that in just a minute.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by Yakima Bait, steeped in tradition, innovation, and fishing success. Procure Bait Sense, ruthlessly effective. And by North American Metals Incorporated, first choice for all your metal roofing and siding needs.